welcome back. In today's video, I'm going to talk about a different value type, Booleans. Let's open Python and get started. So we talked about different value types. We said we can have values such as 5, and it was an integer value. We can have floating point values like 5.3, and we can make that a string by adding quotes around it, and that's a string type. Today, I want to talk about a different value type. You remember, if I say hi, Python says, I don't understand what you're talking about because this is not a string. I'm assuming that you're giving me a command and I just don't know a command named hi. But if I go true, Python says, oh, true, I understand. It is true. If I go false, Python understands that. So true and false are Boolean values, right? Boolean. Okay. And the other thing that you need to know here is that the capital T and capital F, it matters. If I go true with a small t, it doesn't know that. If I go false with a small f, it also doesn't understand that. So it is case sensitive. True with a capital T and false with a capital F. Let's clear this screen. If I go Control L, it clears the screen for me. But okay, how can we use these Boolean values? The Boolean values are probably, maybe, I don't know, one of the most important parts of programming. It's what makes your program smart. You can check for a condition, and if the condition was true, you can make something happen. Let's say x equals 3 and y equals 5. If I go y greater than x, it says true. The condition is true. What you said makes sense and it's true. If I go x greater than y, it says false. So it does a comparison. It checks for a condition, and if that condition is met, it returns a true value. Otherwise, it returns a false value. I gave an example with a greater than sign, but you can obviously have greater, smaller, and greater than equal, smaller than or equal, equal or not equal. Let's say x not equal. This is how you show not equal in Python. Y. So 3 is not equal to 5. So I expect it to return a true value. Let's see. Yes, it's true. If I go x equals y, pay attention. I'm using 2 equal sign. If I only use 1 equal sign, it means that I'm assigning something to x, right? Let me show you the difference. If I go x equal y, it does a comparison. Does the value of x equal to the value of y? No, it doesn't. So it returns a false value. But if I go x equal y, what is the value of 5? What is the value of y? It's 5. What is the value of x? It's 3. Now I'm assigning the value of y, which is 5, to the value of x, which is 3. So I'm updating x, right? So after running this command, if I get the value of x, it's a 5. You see the difference here? So just pay attention. If you want to do a comparison, you have to go equal, equal. This is about the Boolean values, but how are we actually using the Boolean values? The Boolean values are using in if statements in Python. Very important. How do we write an if statement? It's very easy. We go if, and your condition goes here, right? And then you follow with columns, right? Let's see. If I go x equal 3, y equals 5, and if I go if y greater than x, column, we enter. As you see, Python is waiting for you to do something. It says, okay, if that condition is true, what do you want me to do? What is very important here is that you have to do some indentation. You have to space forward. You have to go 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces and then start writing your code, right? That's what's going to happen if the condition is true. You don't have to go 4 spaces forward, but that is my recommendation to you. So if that condition is true, I'm going to go print y is greater than x, right? And if I enter, it's still waiting for me to input something else. I don't want to do anything else, so I enter again, and then it's executed, right? The condition is true. The value of y, which is 5, is greater than the value of x, which is 3. So the condition is true. It goes inside the if statement, and it does what you ask for it to do. If I change that and say if y less than x, right, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I print y is, I misspelled greater than, but doesn't matter really, smaller than x, and if I enter, it executes it, but nothing happens because the condition is not true. As simple as that. That is how you define an if statement. I can add something to this. I can go if y greater than x, then do what? Print y is greater than x, right? And I go else, which means if that condition was not true, then what do I want to do? Look at the syntax, else, column, and again, I go down 4 spaces, and I'm just using the up arrow key to see the previous commands that I had. So if y is greater than x, print y is greater than x, else, which means if that condition was not true, print y is smaller than x. See what happens. Oh, it says y is greater than x. If I change the value, if I go y equals 1, and x holds its previous value, and if I run the same thing again, if y greater than x, print y is greater than x, and else print y is smaller than x, and if I run that, it says y is smaller than x. Just as simple as that. We can make it even more complicated and just add different cases here. Let's see. I can go if y greater than x, then print y is greater than x. If, that's basically the Python syntax for else if. So I'm adding an extra condition here. If y less than x, column, then I want to go print y is smaller than x. And then I'm going to go else, which is the third condition that I'm adding. I'm going to go print y equals x, right? And then we run it and it says y is smaller than x. Just as simple as that. You can have and add as many if statements there. It doesn't matter. You just need to follow the syntax, right? Let's give you another example here. I go x equals 51. If, let's see if the value is divisible by 2 or not. How can we do that? We check the remainder after dividing by 2. And you remember how to do that, right? I go if x mod 2, that returns the remainder of the division by 2. If that equals 0, right? Then 1, 2, 3, 4, print x is divisible by, what's wrong with spelling these words? Divisible by 2, right? If x mod 3 equals 0, we can say 1, 2, 3, 4, print x is divisible by 3, and then we can add one more, which is so you see what's happening. If x mod 5 equals 0, then we can go 1, 2, 3, 4, print x is divisible by 5, right? I missed a small print here. X is divisible by 5, and then else, which means if neither of those conditions were true, then 2, 3, 4, print x is not divisible by 2, 3, or 5, right? And let's see what happens. I enter, and it says x is divisible by 3, because 51 equals 3 times 17, right? That's divisible. This is as simple as that. This is how we can have if statements in Python. Thank you for joining me today. See you in the next video. Bye.